Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video, I want to share with you our family's favorite recipes of 2019. I would actually go as far as to say these are our favorite recipes that we've tried in a long time that are fantastic. Last year we did a lot of experimenting with new recipes. We kind of always do, but we've just really gotten into a role of just, okay, what new recipe are we going to try this week? And a lot of these we've actually remade. They're kind of time and true tested things that my kids love. A lot of these recipes include vegetables that are hidden, so the kids can't say ew. A lot of these recipes also, I think, are kind of genius ways of hiding some things that you want your kids to be eating, like leafy green vegetables such as spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, those types of things that typically they look and they're like, because kids eat with their eyes before they actually even taste something. So if you're looking for some fantastic, simple, easy, healthy recipes that kids and families will love, let's get into this. All of the recipes, the blog posts where they came from, photo credit for the photos that I'm using will all be listed in the description box. None of these are recipes that I've made up myself. However, I do tend to take a recipe and all of these that I've shared with you, and I do tweak seasonings a little bit, and sometimes I swap out ingredients, but I'm just going to leave the recipes, the jumping off point in the description box below, and feel free to substitute and, season things up differently however suits you. So the first recipe is chicken piccata, and I have to tell you, I was shocked how well this was received by my children. Capers. There are capers in this recipe, and that was a kind of a new ingredient to them. I've used them before in other things, but they didn't always eat it. But this recipe, they gobbled it up. In fact, my son ate 3 separate helpings of this. And so I recommend doubling this recipe. And I guess, of course, it depends on how many people you are serving. But I'm next time going to double this actual recipe because this is a great reheat. A lot of these recipes are great to send for my husband for his lunch. He likes to have hot food. He likes things he can heat up for lunch. He likes sandwiches and stuff, but I just something about a hot meal that's reheated and it smells like home when you're at work eating it. So this recipe is fantastic. Highly recommend it. Chicken piccata. It's basically boil it down to chicken breast breaded, pan fried, add in some butter, lovely little cream sauce, some capers for salt. It is just fantastic. The next recipe, I was blown away. First of all, I didn't know that you can make a cream sauce out of cashews and actually have it taste amazing. Like shockingly good. My kids loved this. Not only is it, I believe it's dairy free. The ingredients, it's very simple. It's like 5 ingredients. There's also kale in this recipe. Kale is something I can't readily get my kids to just eat, not, at least not plain. Maybe if it's kind of crunched up in a salad a little bit, they do like salad. But it's just, I like to think of creative ways to get them to eat things such as kale. It's not a vegetable that everyone's like, woo, it's not like carrots or corn or beans even. But this recipe is like 5 ingredients. It comes together so quickly. I ate this every day for a week because I had made so much of it. I had a lot of leftovers, but it's so delicious. And of course, you can serve it over any kind of noodles. Maybe you don't want like the regular noodles. You could do whole wheat noodles, veggie noodles. There's all kinds of bean-based noodles these days. We did it over just regular noodles because we love regular noodles. Regular meaning the regular kind. Like, there's so many. If you walk down the pasta aisle these days, there are so many options, you will be overwhelmed. But regular noodles. Mushroom fajitas. So I stumbled upon this recipe from my husband, who was talking to one of his co-workers at work, and his co-worker gave him this recipe because he was looking for like a meat-free night, like something we could really enjoy and feel satisfied, because every once in a while we like to have meat-free nights. No particular reason. We don't eat a specific diet. We eat everything. But sometimes it's fun to just, let's try this. It might be delicious. These mushroom fajitas are so good. I've made it twice in the last 2 weeks. My kids, as they're eating, are asking, can we have more? Can we have more? It is fantastic. It comes together really quickly. It's, once again, one of those recipes where you just marinate the mushrooms for 30 minutes, throw in the peppers and the onions, saute everything up. And then, of course, it's a fajita, whatever you want to serve. Guacamole, sour cream, salsa, cheese, little green onion, like whatever tickles your fancy, and then you can choose whatever kind of tortilla you want, whether you're doing low carb, no carb, corn, flour mixture. I like the half corn, half flour tortillas myself. Such a simple, easy, delicious meal. I have to say, I like things that don't take me 2 hours in the kitchen. Now, some things take me a little longer to prepare, but I guess my tip to you when I'm talking about weeknight meals, I like to do a lot of things, like a lot of prep in the morning, so that crazy hectic time of day when kids are coming home from school, they have homework, they're tired, husband's coming home, he's hungry, or we have things that we need to get to at nighttime, so the meal needs to be quick and ready. I do a lot of preparations in the morning, or I pick recipes that I can get realistically about 45 minutes. I know there's 30-minute meals, but most of us are not fast choppers, so you gotta allow at least 15-20 minutes to chop everything up. And that's another tip I'd give you too, is to have everything chopped up and ready to go before you even start the recipe, because I guess the next thing I'll talk about is veggie fried rice. That comes together so fast. We're talking just minutes here, so you want to chop everything up ahead of time. Use rice that's already pre-cooked. Invest in a rice, it's cheap, but a rice cooker. One of the best appliances I've ever purchased, because I could never make rice perfect. It'd either boil over on my stove and I'd have a hot mess, which, cleaning starch off your stove sucks, or it would be crispy. I wouldn't get enough water in there, and different grains of rice require different amounts of a little bit more water, or they require a little soaking time. But the rice cooker takes the guesswork out of all of that. So my next recipe is veggie fried rice. I've tried a lot of different ones, a lot of different ways. The one I'm going to link below is one of my favorites. I always add a lot of egg to my veggie fried rice. We like a lot of egg in it. Feel free to, substitute in some vegetables that you prefer over others. This particular one incorporates some cabbage. And on the night that I was picking this recipe, I had some leftover cabbage from some coleslaw I had made the night previously. And so I really try to find recipes on a nightly basis that incorporate leftovers or things that need to be used up. So I will kind of plan out my week of meals so that if I have leftovers from this recipe, it can now become an ingredient in this recipe. That way nothing is getting thrown away or wasted. This next recipe was really fun because I had everybody try it before I told them what it was. So I made black bean brownies, and this recipe will not taste anything like black beans. Nothing. You will be shocked. Now, this recipe has a lot of leeway in it. There's a lot of places, and it's even written where you can swap out certain things. So maybe you don't have, say, this kind of sugar, you can use this sugar. In my mind, sugar is sugar, but that's a whole different debate. So if you don't have honey, you could use stevia, or you could use brown sugar, you could white sugar, whatever you have to use up. I really try to pick recipes if I don't have something, it's not a big deal. I'll just, and other times I go into it thinking I have to use this ingredient up. So whether it's written in the recipe or not, I'm using it. And so baking, you got to be a little bit more precise with though. So I wouldn't go too crazy on, I'll just slough this in and slough that in. That's fine with cooking. Baking, not so much. But anyways, this recipe, make it for Valentine's Day and then give it to your spouse and just have them try it. And they will be shocked to know it's healthy. I use air quotes because, I don't know when dessert's ever super healthy for you. We eat a lot of it. I love it. I enjoy life. And so give it a try. All right, if you were to ask me, Chelsea, what's your go-to marinade for chicken and veggies? Well, for the veggies, it is simple. It is a 4-ingredient marinade. It is olive oil, or any kind of oil, really. I've been using avocado oil a lot lately. Garlic, fresh garlic. Lemons, fresh lemon juice. Don't buy it in a jar. Just get real lemons. And then soy sauce. 4 ingredients. So simple. Use any veggies that you want. Let it marinate for, I think the recipe says 30 minutes, but I go a little longer because I really like the flavor of this. Ideally an hour to 2 hours, but not any longer than that, or your vegetables start to get a little funky because the marinade starts to break them down. But this is such an easy, simple marinade. I used it all summer long. We did a lot of grilled veggies. We like the grill. We can grill year round down here. But this marinade is fantastic. As far as chicken, I'm going to link another one that I've used quite a few times. It's like the same version of the same type of thing. We're talking a marinade that has brown sugar, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, some sort of oil, salt, pepper. Sometimes some recipes, if you want a little more Hawaiian, you could throw a little orange juice, a little pineapple juice in there. Just something that's kind of sweet but savory is my favorite kind of marinade for chicken. My kids gobble it up. We call it Hawaiian marinated chicken because it kind of tastes a little Hawaiian. It's got that savory, it's got that sweet, and then of course you got the grill flavor coming through. Just our go-tos. Pizza. We do a lot of pizza in this house, whether I buy it at the store and it's a Tombstone or a DiGiorno or it's takeout. But when I'm making homemade pizza, one of my go-tos for my husband and I primarily, but my kids really did enjoy it. Of course, they like their pepperoni and cheese or sausage and cheese. Chloe even loves to have black olives on her pizza. But this is sweet potato, sausage, and kale pizza. Once again, another great way to get the kale in there. And when you put kale on a pizza, it almost turns into like a kale chip. So it's crunchy. And sausage, I mean, I love sausage. Sausage always goes over really well on a pizza. And then the sweet potato. Now this particular one, if this is the one I'm remembering, and if it's not the specific recipe, here's a tip. Balsamic reduction over the top of this. It's perfect. I think this particular pizza I do feta cheese on as well. And if you can find it, feta is not all created equal. There are all these different brands, and to me they all taste different. But the most mild, pleasing, creamy texture, not overpowering feta that I have found is by the brand Boar's Head. It comes in a little square like this. It is not stinky. Some fetas to me that I've had, like when I've ordered feta at not grocery stores, but like a restaurant, almost come off like a blue cheese to me. I really don't like blue cheese. I feel like blue cheese just overpowers and overtakes anything that it's sitting on. This feta is the best, and I've tried quite a different few, like the Athenos brand, I know is a nationwide brand. Don't like that one so much. This is better than that. Boar's Head, if you can get it, it's my favorite. Try it. Just try it. It's fantastic. Quick Korean beef. Shockingly delicious. Something as simple as just making this Korean beef, you can serve this any way that you want. You can make lettuce wraps with it. You could put it in a tortilla. You can just sprinkle it over the top of, say you had some roasted potatoes left over or some roasted yams. Sprinkle it on top of some vegetables. Put it on a salad. Like, this Korean beef was literally quick. Very simple ingredients. I want to say like 4 or 5 ingredients. Not a lot of things, just basic pantry staples, things we all have in our fridge or in our pantry. I kind of feel like I should do a video on like pantry staples, things I always have, condiments I always have, things that you need so that you can make all of these different types of sauces and just reoccurring things. If you're interested in that, let me know. But soy sauce is one of those things always have soy sauce, like in a backup, because some recipes will call for half a cup. Well, that's like half a bottle. But it's so fantastic. My kids love soy sauce. We use a lot of it, and I believe this recipe has that in it as well. If there's anything I can toot my own horn about, it's soup. I make fantastic soups. I think the key to a good soup is to salt while you're cooking. Salt as the soup itself is cooking, like salt the initial ingredients, salt the actual broth, and then later on as it's cooked a few hours, check it again, taste it, and salt more. You might even need a little finishing salt, but soup is one of those things where you have to flavor it as you go. I've never been real big on making a 30-minute soup because I feel like it doesn't have time to meld together and really have all the flavors intermingle to create deliciousness. I prefer to either make my soup in the morning or do it in the crock pot and serve it the next day, or at least give it, a couple hours of cooking time. But this loaded baked potato soup, huge hit in my house. I recommend serving this with pretzel bread if you can find it in your freezer section of your grocery store, or just make it if you're really that good at bread. I'm not good at bread. I guess I haven't really given myself a huge amount of time to try, but when I can just open up a package and throw it in the oven, it's done in like 20 minutes. That's my kind of side dish for the evening. But loaded baked potato soup, you have to try this. It is wintertime. It is comfort food at its finest. Bread, cheesy soup, like, come on, sign me up. I love gnocchi. I love it. I love anything that's pasta and bread, basically. But gnocchi with spinach, mushrooms, and a crispy prosciutto. You guys, another recipe kids loved. I mean, who doesn't love prosciutto? It's fantastic. I mean, salty, crispy deliciousness paired with, like, basically pasta. Gnocchi is like a potato-based pasta, but so good. Simple, too. Like, this recipe was not something that, you slaved over. I don't like to do things where you have, like, 15 pots that you've used to make a recipe. To me, that's overwhelming. I don't mind doing that if I'm putting on, like, a huge spread, or it's a holiday or something like that. But on the day-to-day, nobody wants to be in the kitchen for 2 hours at night, especially if you've worked a full day. Like, that is the last thing you want to do. You want a 30-minute delicious meal that you feel proud of and you feel good about serving to your family. This is one of them. And I don't know how to say the word. With bacon, butternut squash, and chanterelle mushrooms. Seriously? Another absolutely delicious meal. A few of these I mentioned in fall favorites. So I tend to cook seasonally. And I like to cook things, you know, like this produce is in season now. Like, I'm not out trying to find watermelon in January, February. Like, it's usually not that good because it's come from a long ways to even get here. So I try to cook seasonally. I think that makes sense. I think the produce shines best. It's just best in season instead of out of season. We've been on a huge mushroom kick lately. Pasta recipes just always work. There is just so many ways you can take pasta. Maybe all you have for the night is a cooking oil, salt, pepper, butter, lemons. That's all you need. Maybe a little fresh Parmesan if you have it. I mean, cooking doesn't have to be a science. It really is something to be experimented with, and it's fun and it's exciting. I love to cook with different colors and textures. Just like I like to do my makeup or to dress myself or to decorate my house, I think incorporating different textures and colors and just new ingredients, it makes it exciting to cook again because you buy something that you've never cooked with before. And maybe some of you view that as like scary, but it doesn't have to be because there's so many resources out there, especially on the internet, to find really good tried and true recipes. I forgot to mention, but most of these recipes are also on my Pinterest board as well. If you want to follow me there and see, I try to pin everything that I've cooked or at least tried or plan on trying to cook. Okay, this next one I got out of my magazines that I always buy at the checkout, the Better Homes and Gardens magazines. They're always at H-E-B at the checkout. They also sell them at Walmart and Target, Costco too actually. But this is farro and Brussels sprouts with prosciutto. Shockingly, my family loved this. This is another recipe that incorporates that balsamic reduction, like to finish it. A balsamic reduction is sweet. It is like the best sauce ever. So once again, prosciutto, Brussels sprouts. You want to get your kids to eat Brussels sprouts. I really feel like you need to cook them. Don't just steam them and expect your kids to eat them. Because personally, I don't even eat steamed Brussels sprouts. Ew. Then they end up mushy. I think they're better served and they kind of shine better as a vegetable and they're more appealing to eat when you crisp them up, roast them in the oven. Or you could grill them. They're great in a tin foil with olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic on the grill. Or maybe you have an open fire and you just want to, like, you're camping. But I feel like once you figure out the way you best like that vegetable, it just helps everyone else out. And you feel good about making the vegetable and serving it, and you know your kids are going to eat it. The farro just adds a good grain to this. This is basically like a side dish. I can't remember what I served it with. I think flank steak maybe. But this was delicious. Another recipe with prosciutto. Like I said, if I buy something, then I try to pick out a few recipes to use those ingredients. And the last recipe I'm going to leave you with is a cookie. I talked about this also this past fall, but oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. There are so many recipes out there. So many. But I'm going to link this one, and I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I swapped out to make these perfection. Perfection. So what you're going to do is you're going to swap out, and I'll leave these tips in the description box as well, is swap out half of the all-purpose flour that it calls for and use coconut flour. So you're going to do half all-purpose and half coconut flour. Boosts up that yummy coconut flavor. Second is you're going to use unsweetened coconut, not sweet. Plus, if you buy unsweetened coconut, then you can use it for breaded coconut chicken tenders dipped in a honey mustard, like a Dijon honey mustard sauce. There you go. See, you're going to use your package of coconut up. And then third, I would use semi-sweet chocolate chips instead of dark. I don't mind dark chocolate chips, but if I want a real sweeter chocolatey flavor, I prefer to use semi-sweet. Even though semi-sweet's not as sweet as milk chocolate, semi-sweet tastes best when paired with a sweeter cookie because it's not too overwhelmingly sweet. Like, don't use milk chocolate with all the things I have said because, I don't know, you need the balance in the cookie. The cookie's sweet. You don't want the chips to be too sweet because then it's just too much. It's that balance that makes something absolutely delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed all this. Happy cooking. Let me know how any of these recipes go. If you've tried any of these recipes, let me know some of your all-time favorite recipes in the description box below, and we can try each other's recipes and report back. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love cooking. I love to eat, and I would have to say this is definitely another one of my passions in life, is getting to try food and enjoy it. And then, you know, it's just something so satisfactory about cooking at home for your family and them receiving it well and saying, oh, we love this, make this again. It just makes you feel so good about taking the time to do that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this has inspired you, and we'll chat again soon. Bye, guys.